Hello everyone, welcome to a very special and spooky Christmas episode of Objectivity, because here we have a letter written on Christmas Eve in 1735, and this is a Christmas ghost story. What's the story behind this letter? Where's it come from?
It comes from a collection of letters from a Royal Society president called Martin Folkes, who's an antiquarian, a scientist. He's a mid-18th century president. And this is a letter from someone he knew to his son. He's commanding this person to set down an account of a family ghost story for his son.
A family ghost story, not from his family, from another family. But he said, I want this story documented. So here it is. A 1735 family ghost story.
It's quite scary, Brady, I have to say.
All right.
Let's go for it.
I'm ready.
So here's Martin Challiss writing to Martin Folkes. But to your father's orders, upon the best recollection I can make, the family tradition concerning my Uncle Thomas Challiss' surprise stands thus. Upon his receiving a sort of check in his courting Mrs. Wells, who was sister to Mrs. Crask, he went to bed in some discontent at the Fountain Tavern in Bury. And in the night, being awakened in no dream, his bedside being near a window, he saw by the light of the moon, then shining very bright, the figure of an old woman, that opened his curtain, and upon looking on him, spoke to this purpose. 3 times 9 and twice 3 your age shall be, and then you shall be dust like me.
Okay, so Uncle Thomas is courting someone.
That's right.
He goes to bed in a tavern, and then he wakes up in the night, and the ghost of an old lady says, you're going to die when you're 33 years old.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Creepy so far?
Creepy. What next?
Okay. On the morning, the gentlewoman at whose house he lodged came into his chamber and told him that the parish bell was then setting out for old Mrs. Wells, who died in that very night. And about the same time as my uncle, upon reflecting upon his hour of going to bed, did judge he saw the apparition.
Oh, I got chills, Keith. So his future mother-in-law has appeared at his window at the exact moment she has died, and told him when he's going to die.
Drawn the curtains, leaned in, and told him this prediction.
What
so
next?
We continue. This thing happening some years before his death, he has in the interval, as well as at my father's house, as other places had the story in the same way of joke thrown at him. So he's been made fun of, which when very alert has often made him serious and show a dislike to the subject. In the 32nd year of his age, he was ill of a deep consumption, and upon his birthday to complete the 33rd year, my father and self, being sent for from school, dined at his house with some other relations. He was remarkably cheerful, and set up a laugh in the company by this expression that he found himself better, and did not believe he should bite his mother Wells.
What does that mean? He should not bite his mother Wells?
I guess it means that he's going to escape this curse, whatever you would say it was.
Okay, he looks like he's going to get through.
Yep, he's on the cusp there. He's almost made it. But upon his growing ill again in the evening, some persons in the room observed their watches and the clock, and 'twas agreed by all these present that he expired within a minute or two of the time of his nativity, which, if I mistake not, was between the hour of 11 and 12 in the evening.
What does that mean, Keith? That means he died like the actual nativity. Is that the time?
Exactly at the time of his birth. So exactly on the stroke of the 33 years.
So he happened to have been born very late at night, and he died late at night.
That's right, between 11 and midnight.
Wow.
As this is remembered by many who are now alive, 'tis possible that my account in some small circumstances may differ from that of others, though I do persuade myself that I have a strong consciousness of neither adding or diminishing anything that relate to the truth or substance of it, and therefore hope that wherever your papa disposes of this relation, he will defend my character against any monkish imputation.
Monkish imputation, presumably, is what he's thinking I am going to say about this story.
Probably, yes, yeah.
I'm not going to judge the guy. It was 300 years ago. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
All right.
And he finishes the letter, myself, my family, do most cordially join with me in the wishes of many a cheerful Christmas and Happy New Year.
Well, everyone likes a happy ending.
Yep.
So just to recap, ghost of mother-in-law appears at bed at the exact moment of her death and says, you will die at the age of 33.
Yep.
This becomes a family story that everyone gives him a hard time about for years. He doesn't like the story, but on his 33rd year, like right on his birthday, he thinks,
right.
I've dodged the bullet, it's amazing. But then, that night, at the exact moment of his birth, he dies.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I think this is a great story, and maybe not for the reasons you think. I think this is a story about new technology.
What?
Yeah. When you think about it, we take it for granted these days that if you're having a ghost story set in an old country house, the clock chiming midnight is the thing that maybe awakens a ghost, or it's a very time-orientated thing. And in this story, which is set presumably in the late 17th century, they're measuring time against a clock in the house, and the gentlemen all have pocket watches. This is new technology. You have to be very wealthy to have that kind of thing. So this is a ghost story developing. The idea of the traditional ghost story that we have now is here a very novel and interesting thing with new technology to boot, like the internet and a contemporary ghost story.
Keith, I think you missed the point of the ghost story. But we will have no monkish...
We like a bit of science.
We will have no monkish imputation here, though. We have told you the story. Make of it what you will. It remains here for all time in the Royal Society archives, and it was a pleasure to hear it.
Christmas Eve, and a very happy Christmas.
Shall we move forward 100 years into the next century? What have we here, Keith?
Here we have an 18th century chair. This was apparently given to the Royal Society by Sir Joseph Banks.
Joseph Banks, one of my favourites.
President of the Royal Society, of course.
Oh, wow. This is so beautiful.